Boosie is in hot water with the feds. Him and J. Prince Jr. Mob ties.
When we left out the concert, we under the garage. Dude went to his car by himself and walked down to the parking lot. That's when somebody tried to rob him and killed the dude. What the hell, my 19-year-old cousin gonna try to rob and kill somebody? Bro, we getting money, man.
The federal authorities are looking into Boosie's alleged involvement in Duke the Jeweler's murder after he brought him to a rigged dice game in Houston. With J. Prince Jr., let me first explain how this entire setup worked. You will be astounded by it. This material is going to get weird, so before we go into this crazy narrative, make sure you all press the like button and subscribe. There's really major street politics going on here that most folks aren't even aware of. Family, we're discussing organized criminality masquerading as hip-hop culture. Let me first explain the true identity of Duke the Jeweler, because this man was far more than a mere Chicago jeweler. Duke was simply one of the Midwest's most esteemed jewelers. Shorty, we're talking about a man who worked with everything from major league sportsmen to local rappers. Building his name from the ground up, Boosie calls Duke to discuss creating a personalized piece. Duke had previously collaborated with rappers, but Boosie was a unique talent. We are discussing a legendary figure from Louisiana who has significant street credibility. The kind of call that can propel your jewelry business forward is when Boosie calls and says he wants to do business. This is where it becomes suspicious, though. Boosie specifically requested that Duke travel to Houston rather than handle the matter in Louisiana or Chicago. He explained this significant Labor Day weekend event to Duke, made it seem as though there might be several celebrities present who could be interested in personalized items. Boosie depicted Duke forming relationships and receiving several significant commands. What's crazy is that Duke was looking forward to this vacation. He talked about traveling to Houston and the possible business chances on social media. This man was unaware that he was heading directly into a situation that would endanger his life. Since this is far more complex than most people think, allow me to now reveal J. Prince Jr.'s entire scheme. J. Prince Jr. has been operating the same scam for years, and it's really frightening how well planned it is. Stealing successful people has become an art form for this guy, not a cap. This is how the entire process operates, from beginning to end. J. Prince Jr. first chooses his targets, who are typically successful business people, athletes, or rappers from out of town who are visiting Houston. Using his contacts in the business, he learns who is visiting the area, their financial situation, and the type of jewelry they are wearing. Backlash. The approach follows. It's not like J. Prince Jr. just runs up on folks. Amateur hour is that, rather, he presents himself as a street legend from Houston who want to express his affection to guests. He will do whatever it takes to appear genuine, including reaching out to you on social media, making introductions, and having shared connections. The real game starts when he makes them feel at ease. He will show them around Houston and introduce them to other members of his social circle. In reality, he is merely establishing confidence in order to set them up later, even though he gives them the impression that they are being accepted into some special club. It was an easy strategy. To boost Duke's confidence, let him win a little at first. Then, utilize the rigged dice to win everything. Before they cleaned him up and sent him back to Chicago, they wanted him to feel at ease, placing large bets. But, gang, their scheme didn't work out. The streets claim that Duke unintentionally passed the actual dice rather than the phony ones. Perhaps someone became perplexed. Perhaps the dice were accidentally switched. Whatever the case, Duke began using real dice to win. That evening, Duke won more than $645,000. That's really crazy. While cleaning the house, he stole money from everyone seated at the table, including some quite dangerous individuals who weren't accustomed to losing their own money. As Duke continued to win, you could see the tension rising in the room. Because their own scheme was backfiring on them, these guys were becoming agitated. When Duke started rolling actual dice, their fake dice and magnetic tables didn't function.
Man,
People saw that Boosie continued to whistle while he stood behind Duke the entire time. People now understand that those whistles were signals, even if at first they believed he was just being amusing. He was interacting with the others in the room, most likely in an attempt to plan how they would respond to the circumstance. The crazy thing is that Duke handled everything with grace. The worst thing that could have happened to Duke was gaining their money. Even though he wasn't being rude or unpleasant to anyone when he was winning all this money, you could sense that the atmosphere in the room had dramatically shifted after Duke cleaned up after the dice game. These guys quickly changed from being warm and inviting to being cold and cunning. They had no intention of giving away more than $500,000 to an out-of-town jeweler. Not a cap. Witness accounts and street talk indicate that a full meeting took place following the conclusion of the dice game. To figure out how to get their money back, Boosie, J. Prince Jr., and their group came together. This was not an impulsive choice. This was a well-planned, murderous scheme. They had time to organize everything because they knew Duke would be attending Boosie's concert the following evening. They planned the ideal ambush after observing his activities and determining where he was staying. These guys made murder a profitable endeavor. Throughout the day, Duke was being followed by several people. Duke wasn't going out without a fight when they confronted him in the parking lot. Despite his best efforts, Duke was outnumbered and outgunned. Duke was merely attempting to get to his car and return to his hotel when the gunmen arrived, ready for battle. The shooting was harsh and swift. After shooting Duke several times and stealing his jewelry and all the money he had won from the dice game, they vanished into the night. And that's where Boosie's Oscar-caliber performance starts. So, Boosie goes into full acting mode immediately following Duke's death. This guy attempts to disassociate himself from what transpired by making not one, but several videos. On tape, he expresses his sadness, says Duke was a decent man, and says this kind of violence isn't his style.
Some dudes tried to rob him. See some dudes that tried to rob me and walked off by himself.
Additionally, Boosie attempted to give the impression that Duke had lost money at the dice game. Even though everyone knew that Duke had won handily that evening, Duke wasn't angry about losing, he claimed. But how can you be upset about losing when you've won more than $600,000? Even the lies are illogical. What if I told you that Boosie's account of what transpired following the concert is constantly evolving? In fact, that is really suspicious. He began by saying that Duke had left on his own. Duke was with other people, he added, then he altered the narrative once more. Your tale doesn't change when you're telling the truth. Boosie's attempt to portray himself as a victim by using Duke's death was the most repulsive aspect of his play. He discussed how people were treating him unfairly, how the internet was attempting to place the blame on him, and how this was having an impact on his mental health. You're worried about your reputation, bro, and a man has died.
And y'all got us all the way up, man. We met that dude, Duke the jeweler, the night before. We was gambling. The next day, dude followed us to the concert. When we left out the concert, we under the garage. Dude went to his car by himself and walked down to the parking lot. That's when somebody tried to rob him and killed the dude. What the hell my 19-year-old cousin gonna try to rob and kill somebody? Bro, we getting money, man. We get fucking money. That ain't our stilo. As a boss, I ain't letting that go down like that, man. This dude finna make me a piece. So y'all need to kill that. That's bad low, man. Don't put us in nothing with no bad low. It's bad low, man.
People became even more wary of these videos because of how blatantly transparent the phony sympathy was. Genuine grieving doesn't appear to be a show, and it was obvious that Boosie was acting for the cameras. He appeared extremely guilty since he was making an excessive effort to appear innocent. Video footage of Boosie's nephew exiting the building just before Duke was shot was discovered by fans. That's really crazy. They created a timeline that detailed the specifics of the murder by going through surveillance footage, witness statements, and social media posts. Additionally, the internet detectives found that Boosie's home was where Duke's Louis Vuitton bag containing his jewelry was located. I mean, how would you explain that? Boosie said Duke asked him to retain it during the dice game, but why didn't that bag return to his family after Duke was killed? Why did it sit at Boosie's crib as if it were supposed to? Additionally, many on social media began to link this case to other questionable events surrounding J. Prince Jr. and his group. They discovered trends of out-of-town artists being murdered or robbed in Houston after going to dice games. Duke had done this before. Although this was a component of a larger scheme, Boosie's real colors were revealed here. Boosie's entire attitude altered after the internet essentially solved the case and revealed all the facts. This guy became upset when people discovered the truth, rather than continuing to act like the bereaved buddy. We learned all we needed to know about his guilt from his response. Boosie began recording irate videos in which he referred to people as keyboard warriors and internet detectives. The fact that fans were making connections and revealing the truth infuriated him. But, buddy, why are you upset at people for attempting to bring Duke justice if you are truly innocent? Right there. That is truly weird behavior. An innocent individual would want investigators to look into and identify the true murderers. The fact that people were interested in Duke enough to look for the truth would be appreciated by an innocent person. However, Boosie was more focused on his own safety than ensuring Duke received justice. Additionally, Boosie began attempting to refute the facts that followers had discovered. He would attempt to explain away the fingerprints, the witness testimony, and the phone records and films, but his justifications were never coherent. You're always guilty when you have to put in that much effort to explain away evidence. Everyone could see Boosie's true interests. When he spent more time insulting those who were fighting for justice justice than he did lamenting Duke's passing. His reputation was more important to him than the life of a guy. Additionally, Boosie's own family began to turn against him. The story becomes much more bizarre at this point. TQ, Boosie's own brother, came forward and claimed to have invoices proving Duke was set up. You know something is wrong when your own blood is accusing you of murder. Not a cap. For years, TQ and Boosie have been at odds over money and business dealings. Court filings claim that TQ helped one of Boosie's artists sign with another label behind his back and embezzled more than $360,000 from Boosie's bank account. However, TQ spoke up in a way he had never done before because of the Duke incident. He began implying on social media that Boosie wasn't as innocent as he was acting and that he knew the truth about what had happened to Duke. TQ claimed to have proof that might reveal the entire scheme.
You think niggas wake up and just choose Boosie to steal from? You don't think there's better people to steal from? Like, it's not f***ing happening. Boosie is not a victim, dog. Like, that nigga ain't no... Boosie is a f***ing villain.
This is where the tale really takes off. Some believe that takeoff from Migos' predicament is related to the Duke scenario. Dice games in Houston are included in both scenarios. Jay was involved in both. Both Prince Jr.'s circle and Prince's circle ended with wealthy young men dying over gold and money. Family? The pattern is too similar to ignore. Young, prosperous artists arrive in Houston, are invited to these exclusive dice games, have a financial or reputational setback, and die. It's not a coincidence. That is a predatory behavior pattern. What if I told you that we might not even be aware of all the victims? When you consider it, that is truly crazy. How many other prosperous individuals were enticed to Houston but never returned? How many more families are experiencing grief as a result of these arrangements for dice games? For years, Charleston White has been drawing attention to this and alerting people to the hazardous environment that Jay in Houston, Prince Jr., and his group produce. According to him, the check-in culture is essentially a means of locating and pursuing prosperous visitors to the city. The takeoff incident occurred during a dice game where respect and money were at stake. Does that sound familiar? After winning money from hazardous people in a dice game, the Duke scenario occurred. There is no denying the similarities. Additionally, the same group of persons is involved in both incidents. John, Prince Jr., his entourage, and other street characters in Houston who make money off of these gambling enterprises. They seem to have a strategy in place for enticing prosperous individuals into risky circumstances. Evidence related to Takeoff's case and other unsolved crimes in Houston may be found during the federal inquiry into Duke's murder. Sometimes the entire criminal network comes apart when you start pulling on one thread. Here's the current situation and why it's important for the entire industry. The federal investigation is still ongoing as of right now, but people with knowledge of the issue suggest that indictments may be forthcoming. Since federal prosecutors are notorious for only pursuing cases they are certain they can win, the evidence against Boosie and his team is overwhelming. Although Boosie continues to insist in his innocence, it has been claimed that his legal team is bracing for the worst. You can't simply wrap yourself out of a situation where federal investigators are assembling a case against you. Not a cap. Because this case has the potential to reveal a whole network of organized crime that has been involved in the hip-hop business for years. The streets are keeping a careful eye on it. Other victims may be inspired to come forward and reveal similar operations in other cities if Boosie is caught. What if I told you that this case has the potential to alter how commercial relationships and security are handled throughout the whole industry? When you consider the potential repercussions, that is just crazy. It is possible that artists will become more cautious about who they trust and where they do business. The risks associated with some cities' check-in culture have also been brought to light by the Duke case. Artists are beginning to wonder if staying in touch with local street celebrities is truly about security and respect, or if it's just a tool for criminals to find and target successful individuals. According to reports, record labels and management firms are examining their security procedures and encouraging their artists to exercise greater caution while visiting specific cities. It may be the end of the days of unquestioningly believing street stories. Additional federal investigations into comparable practices in other cities may result from this case. A broad crackdown may result if the federal government can demonstrate that there is an organized criminal network targeting successful hip-hop industry individuals. It might also have a significant effect on Houston's hip-hop scene. The city's entire power structure may shift if Jay Prince Jr. and his group are eliminated. It may now be safe for other artists and business owners to operate without having to honor street celebrities. That concludes the detailed account of how Boosie allegedly set up Duke the Jeweler and caused his death. The evidence is overwhelming, and the entire scenario is completely out of control. Everything suggests that this was a planned setup from the inside out, including the rigged dice game, the phony compassion films, and the FBI probe. But, family, There is more to this tale than simply one murder. This is about a system of organized crime that has been taking advantage of successful hip-hop artists for many years. Duke the Jeweler was only one victim of a more widespread pattern of exploitation and brutality that must be revealed and put an end to. The severity of the crisis is demonstrated by the fact that Boosie's own family members are turning against him. You know you've gone too far when your own blood cannot justify what you're doing. Although the federal investigation is still ongoing, there are clear indications that significant indictments may shortly follow. The pattern of criminal behavior is too obvious. The witnesses are cooperating, and the evidence is too compelling for prosecutors to overlook. However, you should hit the like button and subscribe for more posts like this if you learned anything new about this case. We will continue to reveal the truth about what's actually going on in hip-hop because the streets are speaking. The mainstream media won't cover this kind of investigative material, but you all have a right to know the truth. And don't forget to see my upcoming video, in which I break down even more bizarre scenarios that demonstrate how organized crime has permeated the music business. If you want to delve deeper into hip-hop drama and street politics, we are discussing examples that will astound you. Keep yourself secure and keep in mind that not everyone who smiles at you is your friend. Occasionally, those who invite you to a party are also the ones who intend to rob you in the parking lot. Duke the Jeweler had to learn this lesson the hard way, and his passing ought to serve as a cautionary tale for all those involved in the field. No matter how hard people try to hide the truth, it always comes out. Boosie believed that by creating some phony sympathy videos, he could kill Duke and get away with it. But the internet is unbeatable when it comes to revealing the truth. When justice is served for Duke the Jeweler, a whole network of crooks who believed they were above the law will be exposed. The government is keeping an eye on it. The walls are closing in on all those involved in this scheme as the evidence grows. In the next one, I'll see you all.com. Additionally, always be cautious about who you trust while handling significant sums of money and jewels. It might mean the difference between life and death.